Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic Classic Non Classic. This is episode number 2070. I think this was 2083 Doubleshot 1977. I got two trades of the Green Lantern. First up, we have Green Lantern Hal Jordan Book 1. Now, this is written by, of course, Joe Jones, Keith Giffen, and of course, artwork by Mark W. Bright. Also, Jim Owsley, aka Christopher Priest, wrote these issues, with Keith Giffen the artwork too. And the cover right here is by Mark Bright, Claude Jones, and Alex Sinclair. Now you think about this title because basically the style of the artwork is this from the Volume 3 run, which later led to the debut of Parallax. No, it does not. It's mostly put the two miniseries that pretty much are the first chronological thing that was released for Green Lantern, aside from the fact he did have probably first solo book wise. This kind of was basically the post-crisis origin story for Green Lantern. For Green Lantern. Like, shows him like in the ring, the fact he worked for Ferris Aircraft. Like, a lot of stuff basically still was established here, but not like on the Super Age goofiness. This is sort of a rebooted style. And they mentioned the second miniseries, the fact he actually got DUI and spent 9 days in jail. This, of course, meets with Sinestro. Now, the whole thing with Sinestro, that part was still kept canon. Everything related to Sinestro in this book is canon. The one thing that Jeff Johns did later basically made not canon about this miniseries, second one, was that Hal Jordan spent time in jail. Yeah, the fact he's actually ex-convict. They actually retconned that since been ignored. But for the start of the era for Gerald Jones on Green Lantern, this actually is pretty good. I do enjoy these two miniseries. And here's the strange thing, though. Did you know there's not anywhere books were released this book came out? If you're curious, when did this book come out, you might ask? By the way, two miniseries here are Green Lantern Emerald Dawn, the 60s miniseries, that one, and the follow-up Emerald Dawn 2. This was released just back in 2017. Yeah, roughly about, oh my gosh, 6 years ago, and no Volume 2 yet. Do not know why, but that's basically what it is. Next, I have something interesting, though, with this one. We have Green Lantern Brightest Day. This collects issues from Green Lantern, Volume 4, issues, and there's about several issues in here. We have issues 53 to 62. Now, there's a good amount of stuff happening here. Now, this, of course, is from what I can tell, this is the penultimate trade. This is pretty much the final regular trade to collect issues from Jeff Johns' run for Green Lantern, because what happens right after this one? War of the Green Lanterns. That's what happens next. This is basically the Brightest Day issues for this book. We have debut of New Guardians, which basically gets new version, New 52, which is led by Hal Jordan with Sinestro, Carol Danvers. I think Atrocitus is part of this group, and Lar Fleet. There's a lot that related to him in this book. There's also a few issues in here related to Barry Allen, one of Hal Jordan's oldest friends. I appreciate the guest star appearance. It, of course, makes sense Jeff Johns included Flash because, well, I think at the time he actually would, I think it was just, this may have been either just before or during their time of Flashpoint that they had Flash show up in here because he was writing the Flash book at that point. So, my guess is he probably had Flash appear as a guest appearance in here just to promote basically his Flash book, which he wrote, which was the third volume hero for the series, and that was the last Flash book he wrote aside from Flashpoint for years until Flash and Beyond. He, of course, wrote Flash in the pages of Justice League. But this book is just pure awesome at its finest. I loved Jeff Johns' work in this book. Yep. Now, there's also up here related to White Lantern. There's also stuff in here related to the emotional entities, like in the case of the Star Sapphire Corps. Their entity is known as the Predator. No, not related to Alien Predator. It's a guy who made his name back in the 90s, and apparently this is the emotional entity for that group. And they also show in here that Black Hand is part of the Indigo Tribe, which, of course, the Indigo Tribe is mostly a group of... Mostly, here's the strange thing about the Indigo Tribe, is that they're mostly a group of brainwashed individuals who were all enemies at one point of Abin's sort, including Indigo One, who has the tendency to say "nook" a lot of like "nook." That's how she speaks. This bald, beautiful woman, who apparently is no enemy of Abin's sort. Yeah, but this book, love it. This stuff here related to Justice League. The end of this book is a lead into War of the Green Lanterns, which I have reviewed that. It's an awesome crossover. I have not reviewed the Aftermath book yet, which contained a 2-issue miniseries, the final issues of Green Lantern Corps and Green Lantern Warriors. Now, of course, the War of Green Lanterns, those proved to be the last issues of that Volume 4 Green Lantern, before its relaunch under the New 52. Yep. It's something, though, this book lasted about 60, I think it was like 67 issues this book lasted for. Yeah, and by the way, this is the first book I reviewed for this book since the opening trade. I do plan to review other stuff here, but love this book and I love Jeff Johns' work. This is mostly, kind of think of it as classic Jeff Johns. And also Jeff Johns at his finest. Now, if you're curious still about the whole thing of the reason why the Hal Jordan is Green Lantern, like, if you're reading the book, let's say, in the, like, late 90s, he was dead at that point in time, they brought that up in here, the fact he was parallax, they also brought up Green Arrow, the fact Barry didn't like him very much at all, which definitely contrasts to the live-action version of Barry Allen on Arrow, which they're really good friends. Though Hal Jordan made a brief cameo in the show. But the whole thing about redeeming Hal Jordan, the whole thing with that was all Jeff Johns doing. That had nothing to do with Dan DiDio. Dan DiDio gets blamed for a lot of the bad stuff that happens at DC, but the whole thing with Hal Jordan, Dan DiDio himself had nothing to do with that at all. Absolutely freaking nothing. I've never heard anybody blame him for it per se, but anything happened with Green Lantern, that's all Jeff Johns doing. But this actually is from a period of time in Jeff Johns' career, which this is when he was reading like 4 or 5 books at the same time. At the same time as he was writing this book, he also, I believe, when the book started back, I think it was like 2005, I think it was, he was still writing Teen Titans at that point in time, and I think he was also writing Flash, and I think he was also writing JSA at that point in time. But at this point, Jeff Johns was doing this book, and he wasn't doing Justice League yet. That actually came just after this. I think he was also writing Flash again, but that was it. That's all he was doing at this point in time. But post-Flashpoint, he did just 2 books, Justice League and this book, and as of currently, he does Justice League America again, first time since like 2006, I think it was. Yeah, but not much to say about these 2 books. They're both really, really good. I just really enjoy the Jeff Johns work. I love this era because this one was actually just wrapping up. It was actually in the last legs, like last year of this volume, when I got into DC Comics. As a matter of fact, the first 2 franchises I got into were Batman and Green Lantern because I like sci-fi stuff. And of course, I got the Green Arrow, obviously, because they're all friends. Also, there's Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow. I got into it, and I've been basically digging Green Arrow, Green Lantern since then. I've never had any hesitation to do it. The only book I was hesitant to get into was Flash. You think really, as much as I love Flash? Yes. That would take me a little while to get into, but I eventually basically succumbed just reading the damn book anyways. Yep, but yeah, that's a particular view. So stay tuned later on for Baruto. Okay, next video. Bye.